Since today is Candana Yatra, Akshaya Tritiya, the day from which the Lord Gopal is put chandan all over the body to keep the summer heat off. And regarding this, there is a nice pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So today being the day, I take the opportunity to speak about it with the blessings of the devotees. Although I am not qualified, because these pastimes are very nice, at the same time very sublime. Only persons with very sensitive devotional qualities can truly appreciate these pastimes. So I am quite unqualified, but at the same time we will try to speak because today is the day, and by hearing we can develop more and more devotion towards the Lord. So although unqualified, still I will try to speak something. So this chapter actually begins where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after taking sannyas, he travels towards Vrindavan. And he was in such mad ecstasy, he was literally running. And he would just ask anybody, where is Vrindavan? And whatever direction they would show, he would just run in that direction. So Nityananda Prabhu didn't want him to go Vrindavan so early because he wanted the Mayapur devotees, Navadvip devotees, to see him at least once before he leaves. So he tricks him and takes him to Shantipur, the house of Aditya Acharya. Actually, tell some coward boys, whenever the sannyasi would ask you, where is Vrindavan, you show in this direction, in opposite direction. And they did so, and he reached the bank of Ganges, and he asked Nityananda Prabhu, what is this river? He said, this is Yamuna. And as soon as he heard Yamuna, he just jumped into it with ecstasy, thinking about Krishna. And in the meantime, Nityananda Prabhu sent some other devotees to Aditya Acharya's house. Aditya Acharya came with a boat, brought some fresh clothes, because Mahaprabhu was not carrying any fresh clothes. Just took sannyas and left. And took him to his house. Aditya Acharya was then there. They offered him nice prasad, rest, and all the devotees came. And Sachimata requested Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to make his residence in Puri instead of Vrindavan, because so that she could hear about him. And he agreed to it. And this chapter begins saying the chapter Sri Madhavendra Puri's devotional service. Actually, this chapter begins with a lot of humble statements by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj, author of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He says, already Vrindavandas Thakur has elaborated so many pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and I really, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are already sweet, and what is spoken by Vrindavandas Thakur is even more sweet. So how can I attempt to rewrite such things? But some of the statements he has given in summary, which I will try to elaborate. And again he asks forgiveness to Vrindavandas Thakur if he is committing any offense by doing so. So this is how he begins this chapter. And this chapter is very nice because it talks about Gaurnitai, Radha Gopinath and Gopalji. As well as this chapter also speaks about great devotee Madhavendra Puri and his qualities. Prabhupada describes in one of the purport that Madhavendra Puri is the king of Vaishnavas because there is great saintly qualities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu moves towards Jagannath Puri. Says it. Ei matta Mahaprabhu chalila nila chale chari bhakta sangha Krishna kirtana kutuhale. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proceeded towards Jagannath Puri with 4 of his devotees, and he chanted the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna mantra, with great eagerness. Each day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally went to a village and collected a great quantity of rice and other grains for preparation of prasadam. There are many rivers on the way, and at each river there was a tax collector. They did not hinder the Lord, however, and he showed them mercy. Finally he reached the village called Remuna. So Remuna is a village where this Gopinath deity is there, and there Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed one night. The deity of Gopinath in the temple of Remuna was very attractive. Lord Chaitanya visited the temple and offered his obeisances with great devotion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went and straight put his head at the feet of Gopinathji in Remuna. And as soon as he put his head at the lotus feet of Gopinath, what happened? When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered his obeisances at the lotus feet of the Gopinath deity, the helmet of flowers on the head of Gopinath fell down and landed on the head of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So it just fell. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into ecstasy. When the deity's helmet fell upon his head, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very pleased. And thus he chanted and danced in various ways with his devotees. All the servants of deity were struck with wonder due to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intense love, his exquisite beauty, and his transcendental qualities. Because of their love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they served him in many ways, and that night the Lord stayed at the temple of Gopinath. So Mahaprabhu decided to stay at the temple of Gopinath. And why he stayed? It's mentioned in the next verse. The Lord remained there because he was very eager to receive the remnants of sweet rice offered to the Gopinath deity. Having heard a narration from his spiritual master Ishwar Puri of what had once happened there. That deity was known widely as Kshira Chora Gopinath. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told his own devotees the story of how the deity became so famous. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself speaks the story of Madhavendra Puri from his own mouth, what he heard from his own spiritual master. Purbe Madhava Purira lagi Kshira Kaila Churi Ateva Nama Hoila Kshira Chora Hari. This is what Mahaprabhu spoke. Kshira Kaila Churi Ateva Nama Hoila Kshira Chora Hari. Formerly the deity had stolen a pot of sweet rice for Madhavendra Puri. Therefore, he became famous as Lord who stole the sweet rice. So in all the verses you will see Kaviraj Goswami is addressing Madhavendra Puri as Madhava Puri. Although he is his senior, but still is taking his nickname because of that sweetness of relationship, which person in all indifference cannot understand. So you can see how he is sweetly narrating Madhava Puri every time. So once Sri Madhavendra Puri traveled to Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu is telling the story of Madhavendra Puri. So once upon a time, Madhavendra Puri traveled to Vrindavan, where he came upon the hill known as Govardhan. Now, how he was traveling, his qualities was mentioned by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Preme matta nahi tara, ratri dina jnana, kshane uthe, kshane pade, nahi sthana sthana. This is the quality of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was almost mad in ecstasy of love of Godhead, and he did not know whether it was day or night. Sometimes he stood up, and sometimes he fell to the ground. He could not discriminate whether he was in a proper place or not. So this was his state. He did not know whether it was a day or night. That was his state. And he did not know he would fall down every now and then to the ground and again get up. In this way he was traveling. And in this way traveling, he circumambulated Govardhan hill. That is how he did. So naturally, it took a long time, and he completed his Govardhan parikrama towards the evening. So after circumambulating the hill, Sri Madhavendra Puri went to the Govinda Kund and took his bath. He then sat beneath a tree to take his evening rest. He took rest by sitting, not by sleeping. While he was sitting beneath a tree, an unknown cowherd boy came with a pot of milk, placed it before Madhavendra Puri and, smiling, addressed him as follows. He said, "O Madhavendra Puri, please drink the milk I have brought. Why don't you bake some food to eat? What kind of meditation are you undergoing?" So in this way the boy asked. So Madhavendra Puri was a sannyasi who would not beg anything. Normally the different types of sannyasis, some do madhukari, some just ask for milk, but Madhavendra Puri would not ask anything. It's like anayache. Whatever comes without yachana, without asking for, that he would accept and eat. Otherwise he would not ask anything. So in this way the boy asked, "Why are you not begging something? Why are you sitting like this? Please take this milk." And he was asking so many questions, but Madhavendra Puri did not reply anything because he was amazed by the beauty of this boy. When he saw the beauty of that boy, Madhavendra Puri became very satisfied. Hearing his sweet words, he forgot all hunger and thirst. So Madhavendra Puri, simply amazed, did not answer his questions. Rather, he asked him questions. He said, Madhavendra Puri said, "Who are you? Where do you reside? How did you know that I was fasting?" The boy replied. So boy didn't ask his question again. He replied, "Sir, I am a cowherd boy, and I reside in the village. In my village, no one fasts." So in Vrindavan, nobody fasts. In this village, a person can beg food from others, thus eat. Some people drink only milk. But if a person does not ask anyone for food, I supply him with all his eatables. The woman who came here to take water saw you, and they supplied me with this milk and sent me to you. The boy continued, "I must go very soon to milk the cows, but I shall return and take back this milk pot from you." In this way, the boy promised to come back and went. Saying this, the boy left the place. Indeed, he suddenly could be seen no more, and Madhavendra Puri's heart was filled with wonder. After drinking the milk, Sri Madhavendra Puri washed the pot and put it aside. He looked toward the path, but the boy never returned. So we see how Madhavendra Puri's qualities. He drank the milk and he washed the pot also immediately and kept it aside. So one of our servants was serving Radha Swami Maharaj, and he would take some juices for him while he was in GBC meeting because of his health reason. So send the juice inside, and after some time he would come back to collect the pot. And he would come back to collect the pot is already washed by Maharaj himself. So by reading this I was thinking about that. So pure devotees always keep clean. That is the point. Madhavendra Puri could not sleep. He sat and chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He could not sleep. He was chanting Hare Krishna. And at the end of the night, he dozed a little, and his external activities stopped. So he kind of dozed off. And he saw a dream. In a dream, Madhavendra Puri saw the very same boy. The boy came before him and holding his hand, took him to a bush in the jungle. So the boy came in the dream, took Madhavendra Puri's hand and took him to a bush. The boy showed Madhavendra Puri the bush and said, "I reside in this bush, and because of this I suffer very much from severe cold, rain showers, winds and scorching heat. Please bring the people of the village and get them to take me out of this place. Then have them situate me nicely on the top of the hill. Please construct a temple on the top of that hill," the boy continued, "and install me in that temple. After this, wash me with large quantities of cold water so that my body may be cleansed. For many days I have been observing you, and I have been wondering, when will Madhavendra Puri come here to serve me?" So here you can see the Lord is observing everyone. So he said, Madhavendra Puri was not in Vrindavan, he was roaming so many other places. Of course, wherever he was, there was Vrindavan. But finally he came here. And Krishna Bhagavan, Gopalji, is saying that actually I have been observing you for so many days. And I have been waiting for your service. Why is it so? Why couldn't Krishna ask for somebody else's service? Just like a child. He always looks forward for his mother's love. Sometimes he is sick. The doctor may come, the sister may come, so many people may come and go. But ultimately the child looks forward for the mother's attention. Especially when child is sick, they look for a suffering, they look for mother's love. Medicine may or may not be there, doesn't matter. Similarly, the Lord is waiting for Madhavendra Puri's love. Although, especially because now he was very much suffering because of that situation. So he said, I have been observing you and I am waiting. When will you come and serve me? I have accepted your service due to your ecstatic love for me. Thus I shall appear, and by my audience, all fallen souls will be delivered. My name is Gopal. I am the lifter of Govardhan Hill. I was installed by Vajra, and here I am the authority. In this way, Gopal is declaring. When the Muslim attacked, the priest who was serving me hid me in this bush in the jungle. Then he ran away out of fear of the attack. Since the priest went away, I have been staying in this bush. It is very good that you have come here. Now just remove me with care. After saying this, the boy disappeared. Then Madhavendra Puri woke up and began to consider his dream. Madhavendra Puri began to lament. I saw Lord Krishna directly, but I could not recognize him. Thus, he fell down on the ground in ecstatic love. So Madhavendra Puri realized that actually he saw Krishna. He talked to him, but he never realized that it is Krishna, that he was Krishna. So therefore he felt very bad and he was crying. Madhavendra Puri cried for some time, but then he fixed his mind on executing the order of Gopal. Thus he became tranquil. So he was in ecstasy. He saw Krishna in dream, he saw him face to face, he talked to him, and so many instructions were given. So he was in complete ecstasy, but to execute the order of the Lord, he has to control himself. He has to fix his mind. So ecstasy was a kind of disturbance. So he stopped that ecstasy and controlled and focused his mind. On the other hand, we have different kind of ecstasies. Temporary material ecstasies we have, which we cannot stop while serving the Lord. But actually, a pure devotee, they come down from pure consciousness of ecstasy so that they can focus and serve. Similarly, we have to give up our own attachments and focus our mind while serving. And here it is said, thus he became tranquil. So from ecstasy he came to peace. After taking his morning bath, Madhavendra Puri entered the village and assembled all the people. Then he spoke as follows. The proprietor of this village, Govardhan Dhari, is lying in the bushes. Let us go there and rescue him from that place. The bushes are very dense and we will not be able to enter the jungle. Therefore, take choppers and spades to clear the way. So the villagers came and they cleared the jungle. When they saw the deity covered with dirt and grass, they were all struck with wonder and pleasure. So it was a mixed feeling. After that, cleansed the body of the deity, some of them said, the deity is very heavy, no single person can move him. Since the deity was very heavy, some of the stronger men assembled to carry him to the top of the hill. Madhavendra Puri also went there. A big stone was made into a throne, and the deity was installed upon it. Another big stone was placed behind the deity for support. So from this point onwards, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu elaborately describes about the deity worship techniques, and Prabhupada also reflects more and more in the purports. So this chapter also will be very much not only informative but very much inspiring for those who worship the deities with love and devotion. So all the Brahmana priests of the village gathered together with 9 water pots, and water from Govindakund lake was brought there and filtered. Not this water just they pour, they filter it also. There were, when the deity was being installed, 900 pots of water were brought, 900 from Govindakund. There were musical sounds of bugles and drums and singing of omen. During the festival at the installation ceremony, some people sang and some people danced. All the milk, yogurt and clarified water in the village was brought to the festival. Various foods and sweetmeats as well as other kinds of presentations were brought there. I am unable to describe all these. So Kaviraj Goswami is saying that I cannot describe what kind of bhoga, all varieties came. I can't even describe so many things. The villagers bought a large quantity of tulsi leaves, flour and various kinds of garments. Then Sri Madhavendra Puri personally began the Abhishek. So when everything was gathered, the bhoga, water, chandan, tulsi, flowers, everything organized, then only started Abhishek. It's not that he did bathing, then asked, what is the cloth? Then he did put the cloth, what is the flower? Not like that. Everything was organized nicely, then he started the ceremony. And Prabhupada says, during Abhishek, in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, it is stated that one should chant Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya Nama, one should chant Brahma Samhita, which we do while performing our Abhishek ceremony here. All the inauspicious things are driven away by the chanting of the mantra. The deity bathing ceremony started. First the deity was massaged with a large quantity of oil so that his body became very glossy. After the first bathing, further bathings are conducted with Panchagavya and then with Panchamrita. Panchagavya is combination of milk, yogurt and ghee with cow dung and cow urine. The Prabhupada says, cow is such an important animal, even its stool and urine the Lord uses for his bathing. So how much important the cow is. After the Mahasnana was finished, the deity was again massaged with scented oil and his body made glossy. Then the last bathing ceremony was performed with scented water kept within a conch shell. And Prabhupada says, during this time also, Hari Bhakti Vilas states that one should sprinkle some powder we see in our Abhishek time. And this powder is comprised of barley powder, wheat powder, vermilion powder, urad dal powder and another powder preparation called abata. So all this combined, they sprinkle on the Lord, and then clean. After the body of the deity was cleansed, he was dressed very nicely with new garments. Then sandalwood pulp, tulasi garlands and other fragrant flower garlands were placed upon the body of the deity. After the bathing ceremony was finished, incense and lamps were burned and all kinds of food offered before the deity. These foods included yogurt, milk and as many sweetmeats as were received. The deity was offered many varieties of food and then scented drinking water in new pots. And then water for washing the mouth. Finally, pan means betel leaf, mixed with a variety of spices was offered. After the last offering of tambula and pan, bhoga aratika was performed. Finally, everyone offered various prayers and then obeisances, falling flat before the deity in full surrender. So we see how the deity worship procedure. The Lord is given all kind of pleasures first. He is bathed, he is nicely cleaned, he is dressed nicely, flowers, chandan, tulsi, everything is offered, bhoga is offered, arti is offered. The Lord is completely satisfied. And that is the time to offer prayers, not from the beginning. First you should satisfy the Lord. Then when he is happy, and whatever prayer we ask, he will immediately fulfill because he is happy now. Of course, devotee asks, what do they ask? They ask, I want to serve you nicely, like that. I want to be your servant. Please let me serve with love and devotion. This is the thing they ask. And the devotee the Lord becomes more and more happy by hearing these prayers. So the prayers are also offered for the pleasure of the deity. As soon as the people of the village had understood that the deity was going to be installed, they had brought their entire stocks of rice, dal and sweet flour. They brought such large quantities that the entire surface of the top of the hill was filled. So this is the love of Brajavasi. They brought whatever they had in their house, they brought everything. So in Pune, devotees is trying to construct temple. So if everybody contribute in that spirit, the temple can be like, Jagannath Puri or anything like that. If everybody contributes like that. Anyways, Braj is different. So the Brahmanas cooked the food grains, 10 Brahmanas. And 5 Brahmanas cooked both dry and liquid vegetables. The vegetable preparations are made from various kinds of spinach, roots and fruits collected from the forest. And some had made bada and badi by smashing dal. In this way, Brahmanas prepared all kinds of food. 5 to 7 men prepared a huge quantity of chapatis, which were sufficiently covered with ghee, as well as were all the vegetables, rice and dal. So everything was covered with thick layer of ghee. All the cooked rice was stacked upon palas leaves, which were on cloths spread over the ground. Pots of yogurt, milk, buttermilk, sikharani, that is like I think sikharani is sikhand. Sweet rice, cream, solid cream were placed alongside the vegetables. In this way, the Annakut ceremony was performed. And Sri Madhavendra Puri Goswami personally offered everything to Gopal. And then Gopal accepts the offering. So here it is, Annakut Prabhupada says that people should be distributed prasadam profusely. Why? Because by eating Krishna Prasad, they will stop eating all nonsense. So in whatever way I am assisting in college teaching, sometimes I would ask the students, have you ever been to any big Vishnu temple in India? Have you ever had prasad? I was trying to glorify them, the prasad. And sometimes they would say, no. Many of them would say, I have never visited any Vishnu or had any Vishnu prasad from a very reputed temple. And thus they don't know actually the glory of prasad. The Prabhupada says it should be cooked. Like Anna cooked is what they did. They brought everything cooked and distributed. Everyone ate themselves also. So in this way, if that is done, then everybody will get a chance to eat prasad. And they will forget to eat all kind of nonsense. So here Prabhupada says, when it was offered, Gopal ate everything that was offered to him. Many water pots were filled with scented water and for drinking, and Lord Sri Gopal, who had been hungry for many days, ate everything offered to him. Although Sri Gopal ate everything offered, still, by the touch of his transcendental hand, everything remained as before. So Prabhupada says, the atheistic people cannot understand how the Lord can eat and at the same time everything is still there intact. They don't understand about that how the deity is the Lord and the nature of Lord Krishna. And Prabhupada says, what is prasad? He says, before the food was offered, it was something else. Before the food was offered, it was something else. But after it is offered, the food acquires a transcendental quality. So anybody who has eaten prasad, they know it is not just an ordinary food. We have all experience that we are eating so many things before. But as soon as we eat prasad, immediately we understand something else. So just imagine, if somebody has not tasted prasad in all of his life, what unfortunate fellow is, isn't it? So therefore, prasad distribution by Prabhupada is strongly recommended, all the places. He says Krishna is Purna, he gives the philosophical understanding also. So he takes something, eats something, and again reproduces back. So he is not losing anything, because he is Purna. Whatever comes out is also Purna, that is, has its transcendental quality in it. So when we eat that prasad, we also experience Krishna. So this is experienced by Madhavendra Puri. How Gopal ate everything while the food remained the same was transcendentally perceived by Madhavendra Puri Goswami. Nothing remains a secret to the devotees of the Lord. The wonderful festival and installation of Sri Gopalji was arranged in one day. Certainly, all this was accomplished by the potency of Gopal. No one but a devotee can understand this. So everything, whatever we heard, was all organized and performed in just one day. So morning he got up, by the evening everything was finished. Gopal took rest in the afternoon. So abhi tak evening bhi nahi hua hai. Everything happened. The Prabhupada says that how people may not understand, but our Krishna consciousness movement is spreading within just 5 years. Prabhupada is writing the purport after 5 years of Krishna consciousness. And says, what to speak of 5 years? It can spread in 5 days throughout the world if the Lord desires so. Sri Madhavendra Puri offered water to Gopal for washing his mouth, and he gave him betel nuts to chew. Then while Arati was performed, all the people chanted, Jai, Jai. Arranging for the Lord's rest, Sri Madhavendra Puri bought a new cot and to cover this he spread a new bedspread and thus made the bed ready. A temporary temple was constructed by covering the bed all around with straw mattress. Thus there was a bed and straw mattress to cover it. So in this way, the ceremony was happening. And seeing the influence of Madhavendra Puri, all the people gathered there were struck with wonder. They saw that the Annakut ceremony, which had been performed before during the time of Krishna, was now taking place again by the mercy of Sri Madhavendra Puri. So they are all happy with Madhavendra Puri, all Brajavasis, that how this ceremony is taking place. So then Madhavendra Puri afterwards, he initiates some Brahmanas and instructs them how to worship the deities. And here in the Prabhupada says Brahmana has 6 roles: Patan, then Yajan, Pratigraha and Dan. So he studies scriptures and teaches. Then he worships the deity and helps others to worship deities. He accepts gifts and he also gives charity. Not that he keeps all the gifts and doesn't give any charity. Then he is not Brahmana. Because of his good nature, a lot of charity comes to him. And again, immediately he gives away all the charity by Dan. Just keeps whatever is required for himself. So it was advertised throughout the country. And many people came from many villages. They say, we also want to perform Annakut ceremony. In this way, every day there was Annakut ceremony. Practically every day. And gradually, the people of Mathura, they also came to know about it. The people of Mathura, who are very big capitalists, also brought various presentations and offered them before the deity in devotional service. Thus countless presentation of gold, silver garments, scented articles and eatables arrived. The store of Gopal was increasing daily. One very rich Kshatriya of royal order constructed a temple. Someone made cooking utensils and someone constructed boundary walls. Each and every family residing in the land of Brajabhumi contributed one cow. In this way, thousands of cows became the property of Gopal. Eventually, two Brahmanas in the renowned order arrived from Bengal and Madhandrapuri, who liked them very much, kept them in Vrindavan and gave them all kinds of comforts and allowed them to do deity worship. So in this way, whatever Gopal wanted, everything was fulfilled by Madhavendrapuri. And the Lord was residing nicely in the temple, but then he again came in the dream. This way 2 years actually passed. He says, Gopal comes in the dream and says, my bodily temperature still has not decreased. Please bring sandalwood from Malaya province and smear the pulp over my body to cool me. So after once seva is over, the Lord again immediately gives another seva. And this seva is also not some small seva. He says, go to Jagannath Puri from Vrindavan to walk. It may take months. And bring me sandalwood from there and karpura, that is camphor, and smear it on me. And he says, only you can do it. Nobody else can do it because I don't trust anybody else. Something like that. He says, only you can do it. You should do it. So therefore, immediately Madhav Puri arranges all deity worship and sets out for Jagannath Puri. On the way, he goes to Shantipur and meets Advaitacharya. Actually, he initiates him there. Then on the way, while going to South India, that's what Prabhu is saying. Going into South India, Sri Madhavanpuri visited Ramana, where Gopinath is situated. Upon seeing the beauty of the deity, Madhavanpuri was overwhelmed. So now Madhavanpuri actually comes to Ramana, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking the pastime. And he started dancing and doing kirtan by seeing Gopinath's beauty. So devotees dancing and kirtan is not ordinary. Because they do it for the pleasure of the Lord. Whenever somebody is very happy, that is the time when he spontaneously sings and dances. Similarly, here we see Madhavendra Puri spontaneously sing and dance. How could he do it? Because he was feeling love for the Lord. And whoever sees such kind of dance and singing, he is very fortunate. So all the servants saw Madhavendra Puri and they were very much moved by him. And Madhavendra Puri actually Nitya Gita Kari Jaga Mohana Basila Kya Kya Bhoga Lage Brahmani Puchila. So he was asking Kya Kya Bhoga. He was from North India. So Kya Kya word is there. I don't know whether it is Bengali or not. Kya Kya Bhoga Lage Brahmani Puchila. So he asked the Brahmanas, what are the offering you do? And seeing that these Brahmanas were sincerely serving Gopinath, he thought everything must be first class, including their bhogas. And while he was thinking like this and asking, the bhoga of this kshira or the sweet condensed milk, sweet rice Prabhupada says, was brought in front of Gopinath. And Prabhupada then writes in the purport the standard of cooking bhoga and how it should be offered. Nobody should see it before it comes to the presence of the Lord, because it contaminates. In Jagannath Puri kitchen, the cooks who cook, nobody else is allowed in the kitchen. Even the pujari cannot enter, because they are cooking in certain mood and pujari has a different mood. So when he comes in, he may contaminate. So he is not allowed. So very strict, because it is done for the pleasure of the Lord. Nothing should contaminate it. But when it is brought in front of the Lord, it is uncovered. And Madhavendra saw the bhoga. And when he saw, he was thinking, if without asking somebody give me a little sample, he is not saying one full pot. Little sample is given to me, I can test it and prepare a similar bhoga for Gopal. So he is always thinking about Gopal and his pleasure. But while thinking this way, he was thinking, oh, I must have committed an offense, because it was not yet offered to Gopinath, and I am thinking to test it. And he felt very bad, and he was thinking Vishnu, Vishnu in his mind all the time. Because of such an offense he thought he committed. So, while he was thinking like this intensely, the bhoga was offered, taken out, and arati was also offered to the Lord. And everybody moved out, the bhoga, the prasad also moved out. He didn't ask anything. He paid his obeisances and quietly left the place. And went to the marketplace where nobody was there and started chanting Hare Krishna. And in the meantime, the pujari completes his all seva and goes to take rest. And yes, then the Gopinath actually comes in the dream of this Pujari and telling him, Utaho Pujari, kar dwara vimochana, shira eka rakhiyachi sannyasi karanam. He says, Oh priest, please get up, open the door of the temple. I have kept one pot of sweet rice for the sannyasi Madhavendra Puri. This pot of sweet rice is just behind my cloth curtain. You did not see it because of my tricks. So I tricked you and stole one pot. Prabhupada says in the purport that when Krishna steals, he openly declares that he is stealing. No thief in the world would openly declare that he is a thief. He does it always secretly. So therefore, Krishna's activity is not immoral. A sannyasi named Madhavendra is sitting in the vacant marketplace. Please take this pot of sweet rice from behind me and deliver it to him. So the pujari gets up and quickly thinks what to do. And then he thinks that I should first take a bath and then enter the altar. Not that because Gopinath told him, he straight went to the altar. So this is another Vaishnava etiquette you can see. Proper cleanliness standard. He takes his bath and enters the altar. And to his amusement, he actually finds it. He is very much moved by the whole event. Actually, he takes the pot and wipes below also. Not that he takes the pot and comes out. He cleans that place, mops the place. And then he comes out to the marketplace, shouting very loudly. Where is Madhavendra Puri? He says, Will he whose name is Madhavendra Puri please come and take this pot? Gopinath has stolen this pot of sweet rice for you. And in this way, Gopinath is glorified as a thief. The priest continued, Would the sannyasi whose name is Madhavendra Puri please come and take this pot of sweet rice and enjoy the prasadam with great happiness? You are the most fortunate person within these three worlds. And Madhavendra Puri comes out and he receives the sweet, and in ecstasy he actually accepts that sweet rice. And he breaks that pot and binds it, puts that broken pot in his cloth, wraps it. And then he thinks, because now Gopinath has stolen sweet rice for me, I will be very famous. So people will come and pay all kinds of respect. Therefore, in that very same night, actually in the very same spot, he pays an obeisance to Gopinath and leaves. It's not that he goes to temple, pays obeisances and goes. He just very spot. He offers an obeisances and leaves Ramana, goes to Jagannath Puri. And when he reaches Jagannath Puri, already people know about him. Chali chali aila puri srinila chala, Jagannath dekhi hoila premete bihola. Again he saw Jagannath, he became in ecstasy. People could understand this is Madhavendra Puri. Because pure devotee cannot hide himself, although he never wants to be exposed. And they understood his Madhavendra Puri and they started giving all kind of respect. He did not want it. He again wanted to leave Jagannath Puri. But he thought, if I leave Jagannath Puri, how will I get Chandan for Gopal? So therefore, although it was a torture for him to stay in Jagannath Puri, he stayed there and expressed his desire that Gopal actually wants Chandan. All the devotees in Jagannath Puri, they became very, they said, no problem. They gathered 40 kilos of Chandan. That's a big quantity. I don't know how much we are using here. Maybe Madhvacharya can say. And some big amount of karpura, that is camphor. And in this way, he was returning. And some people were also given to him to carry the load. He was given the papers of octroi and whatever toll papers, clearance papers. And in this way, he reached back in Remuna. He offered his obeisance to Gopinath there. And again the pujari brought a pot of sweet rice for him. And he takes rest one night there. And again the Gopal comes in his dream and tells him, Oh Madhavendra Puri, I have already received all the sandalwood and camphor. I have already received. You have brought it, now I have received. You can understand like that. Now just grind all the sandalwood together and together with the camphor, and then smear the pulp on the body of Gopinath daily until it is finished. He said, daily you apply the same chandan and karpura and Gopal. There is no difference between my body and Gopinath's body. So Gopal's body, Gopinath's body, there is no difference. They are one and the same. Therefore, if you smear the sandalwood pulp on the body of Gopinath, you will naturally also smear it on my body. Thus, the temperature of my body will be reduced. Here it is reverse. If you put it on Gopal and Gopinath is also cool. You should not hesitate to act according to my order, believing in me. Just do what I what is needed. In this way he ordered him, instructed him. Etavali Gopal Gela Gosai Jagai Gopinathara Sevak Gana Dakiya Anila Prabhu Ragya Haila Ei Karpura Chandana Gopinathara Ange Nitya Karahalepana. In this way, Madhan Prabhu said all the pujaris of Gopinath that you apply this chandan and camphor on Gopinath's body, and they became very happy because it was summertime. It was very good. So they became very excited and happily did the service. And in this way, all the chandan were applied on Gopinath all throughout that summer. And at the end, Madhan Prabhu returns to Jagannath Puri to spend Chaturmas there. In this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu narrates the story, and he tells to Lord Nityananda, just see how fortunate is Madhavendra Puri, who received not only the audience of the Supreme Lord, but also got so many instructions in the dream. And in this way, actually, he was telling Nityananda, just consider how fortunate he is. And again repeated the whole pastime, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in this book also, it is repeated. The whole pastime, and there are so many pages you can see from here to here. Again, Mahaprabhu in ecstasy, repeating the whole pastime, you can see how fortunate like that. And in the end, he says that how Madhavendra Puri was so much devoted to the Lord, and one of the verses he was repeatedly reciting towards the end of his life, Madhavendra Puri. And that verse Lord Chaitanya started to chant, and while chanting he went into ecstasy. And he said, this particular verse is like a moon. This verse is just like the moon. It has spread illumination all over the world. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was again repeatedly chanting this mantra and falling down. Actually, he was not able to chant. He was just chanting the first two words of this verse. Ai Dina, like that. And Mahaprabhu says, only Kaviraj Goswami says, only Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has tested the poetry of this verse. No fourth man is capable of understanding. So it is said that Srimati Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and Madhavendra Puri could understand this verse. So in this way, Radharani is also part of this chapter. So the verse is, O my Lord, O merciful Master, O Master of Mathura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? In this way, this verse actually, which we can hardly understand. Anyway, so towards the end, Madhavendra Puri actually recited this verse while leaving his body. And one of his disciples was again and again telling him, why are you crying like a sentimentalist? Why don't you meditate on Brahman? Why don't you chant Om? And this was something very painful for Madhavendra Puri, who was in that kind of ecstasy. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that when Krishna explained to Arjuna, when one leaves body, he can chant Om. And remembering Krishna, he can leave his body. And the purport Prabhupada says that actually Om is contained within Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Om is within Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But in Om, Mahamantra is not there. So it is just like Om is impersonal representation of Krishna. So just like we say somebody we don't know, we call him Hey. Like that we call him. Okay. In Maharashtra they say, Hey Sachin, Hey Mahesh. The Maharashtrian boys they call like this. So when you don't know somebody you call Hey, that means you don't know his personal name or feature. So Hey is an impersonal word. Similarly, one who does not know Krishna will say Om. Just like they said Om Namo Narayana or Om Namo Vasudevaya. So Vasudev, Om is preceding Vasudev. That means Om is impersonal representation of Krishna. Let's say Hey. So one who does not know the glories of the Lord, it is possible only by mercy of devotees. He would always consider that Om or Brahman is higher than the God. But actually who knows the glory of the Lord, who knows the glories of the deities, who knows the glories of the pure devotee, will never deny the personality of Godhead. Isn't it? So in this way we can see in the life of Madhavendra Puri how this nectarine pastime is mentioned, and the devotees can very nicely serve the deity all this month. And in Jagannath Puri also Candana Yatra begins. Here we see Gopalji was given a lot of bath, and then there was Candana Yatra. But in Jagannath Puri first Candana Yatra, then Snana Yatra. Then the Lord falls sick and there is Ratha Yatra. In this way, throughout the year, there are festival of the deities and the devotee can release and in this way go back to Godhead. Hare Bol. It's already late, I'm very sorry. But this chapter is so huge and nectarian, I couldn't stop reading. Please forgive. Srila Prabhupada ki Tagore Premanande